The Calgary Flames overachieved last year, Craig, I think a lot of people would have said. And that's a credit to management, to the players for doing everything they can to be good. But in the NHL and pro sports, you're not trying to be good. You're trying to be great. Championship great. And so the one big question for the Calgary Flames are, how close is Calgary to having a winning core on their team?
I don't think they're close to having a winning core. They have an outstanding goaltender in Dustin Wolf. Listen, but when you start a rebuild or a retool, whatever you want to call it, the first thing you have to acknowledge is your present situation isn't good enough. Check mark. That's exactly what the Calgary Flames and Craig Conroy did. Secondly, how do you acquire young players that you hopefully can develop into core players and be real significant to your team? Well, they're doing that. But the third thing now is to make sure you have those core players. I compare the Calgary Flames to the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, yes, the Vegas Golden Knights in their expansion year went to the Stanley Cup final, but they didn't have core players. What they did was they acquired young players, they acquired draft picks, they drafted really well, and then they went out and acquired the core players. Whether it be Mark Stone, whether it be Jack Eichel, whether it be Alex Pietrangelo, that's what they went and did. And I think for the Calgary Flames, they're moving into that space where they have some really good young prospects and ones they feel are really promising. But you're not going to hang your hat on all prospects. So they're going to have to do what the Vegas Golden Knights did. Be bold at the point in time when you can go and see how you can acquire those core players. Because there's no team that is going to be able in today's NHL to just do it straightly through drafting.
And the last place you want to be stuck is where Calgary is right now, is sort of in that middle. They're not really a Stanley Cup contender, but they're not really a bottom feeder either. They're just too good to be there. So how do you get those good players? You start with Dustin Wolf, of course. You need a goalie to be a championship team. They believe Dustin Wolf is a championship caliber goaltender. Everywhere he's played in his career prior to the NHL and even last year in the NHL, he has shown himself to be elite. He might not have to be the best top 3 in the league, but if he's a top 7, 8, 9 goaltender in the league, that is definitely a building block. But the biggest issue I see, Craig, when I look at Calgary's roster is not that they don't have good players. They have lots of good players. I like Kadri. Huberdeau could be effective. Zari, Coronado, those guys are all good. Weegar, Ball, I like them on my team, and they're more than capable of being good enough to win a Stanley Cup with those players. But what they don't have, and what is hardest to get, are the star players. Who is the needle mover up top? Who is the table setter? Who is the guy who slots everyone down into a much more appropriate position? They don't have that on defense as much as I love Mackenzie Weegar, and they don't have that on offense as much as we both love Nazem Kadri. That's the issue, that's the challenge, and that's the problem I see in this retool rebuild that they're going under. I don't know how they position themselves to get a player of that caliber in the next couple seasons.
Well, like Vegas, they're going to have to be bold. They're going to have to be ready to take a chance on a Jack Eichel type player. And those are the types of things that Calgary has to be prepared for. They have to look. The cap is going up, so money shouldn't be a problem. Opportunity is going to present itself when you have cap space. And there's going to be teams that are going to have to move out players because they don't have the cap space. That's where Calgary has to focus their attention on. They have done the work in terms of the draft and the prospecting and everything that goes with that. Now they're going to have to make sure that when those opportunities come in, and not everyone's going to go, oh, that's a perfect situation, but they're going to have to take that path if they want to get those core players. Because the bottom line is, without them, to your point, there's no chance to compete for a Stanley Cup.
The good news is, Craig, they have a patient, smart fan base and a patient owner, and the timeline really does sync up with the new building that is coming in a couple years and not necessarily in the next 12 months. So this is a long-term process they're going through, and they're still going through it.